Hello and welcome to Oracle Body. This is the third version of this first chapter of Oracle Body that I am recording. Oracle Body has been around for since the latter part of 2023 and has been primarily something that many women have been going through throughout the course of 2024 and 2025. And as a result, I've had the great privilege of being able to both be reinformed by the new cosmic information that's available, the transformation frequency that is arriving here in our plane of awareness that is influencing us. And as a result of that, I have more agency and influence, as well as the women who have been contributing to this program have offered their beautiful contribution to how it could be evolved. And this is a really big part of my work, is that women work collectively on a shared consciousness that is a loving, conscious, integrated system. And that's what Oracle Body teaches. So I'm going to drop into a really brief attunement, and I would invite you to do so, and then we'll get into the lesson. But I want you to feel at your back that field of matriarchal women, these embodied, peaceful, centered, boundaried, space-taking, sensual women that have transformed themselves, that have moved in their own alchemical processes and rebirth, and to feel their lineage and their work behind you. They're here to support you. This field of transformation is not new. And you can lean into that collective container of women holding you, who have been through it already, who have transformed their pain, who have transformed their limiting beliefs, who have transformed what they perceived was what was necessary for them in their life. And they've broken that illusion down, and they now stand in a recognition of their majesty. And this is the circle of women you stand in now. This is the circle of embodied feminine that you are welcomed into. We are so happy you're here. We are so happy to be sharing this space with other queens and wise women, with other visionaries and leaders and fierce feminine hearts wide open, mothers, sisters, wives, girlfriends, ever changing, ever luminous beings that we are as Oracle women. To feel for those hands on your back, feel for that grounded, righteous belonging. You belong. You belong in the family of all things. Your body knows. Your body knows. You can breathe into that. You can center in that. You can settle in that. When you're ready, take two more really juicy, luxurious, intentional breaths. You might want to paint your palms over the surface of your thighs, over your belly, over your breasts, neck and shoulders. Give your shoulders a little shrug and roll them. So yummy. So yummy to be a woman. So yummy to recognize how powerful we are. So, moving on to where we are. We are in an amazing time, and I didn't really teach as much about this in the early iterations of Oracle Body. I kept gene keys and transformation around the time that we're in as a separate product. An Oracle Body was just to do with the nervous system, just to do with trauma, just to do with awakening women's capacity to claim their intelligence system. And now I have woven them together because truly everything you need is going to be curated to your gene keys. And it's important that you know that there's a big picture here that I want to speak to, which is this time that humanity's in. So if you're watching this during the time of recording it, we're in the latter part of 2025. This iteration of this recording is the latter part of 2025. 2026 is a big, bold year of stepping into your radical uniqueness. So when we are talking about the transformation of our human nervous system, we're transforming out of a time of external validation where safety is perceived as outside of ourselves. And we'll go into this in detail over the coming weeks. This is a survival nervous system that is really important to honor. This is not a bad thing. We're not weak for having a survival nervous system or a dysregulated nervous system. In fact, it's an incredible blessing to have the alertness, the awareness, and the presence of self to recognize what's happening in your life and happening in your body. That matters. That's what we're doing here. And that gifting, it comes from our survival nervous system. And I'm going to propose to you that you consider looking at your survival nervous system like your healthy fathering self. And if you didn't have a healthy father growing up, welcome. You're in good company. Me too. And if you did, that's wonderful. Truly, that's wonderful. And I look forward to you sharing with me the stories of what that was like to have a healthy masculine father archetype in your home. Because what that would mean is that you had safety in your home, you had consistency in your home, you had the capacity to be your whole, full, wild self, emotional and all, and that was welcome by your father. And that your basic needs for safety and protection and provision were cared for with a consistent and kind disposition. Many of us didn't get that. And so what we were conditioned into is an external validation that is safety is outside of me, resources are outside of me, I don't have control over them. Or I'm going to protect myself and not be interacting in a safe way with masculinity. We'll talk about this in more detail. And instead, I'm going to be hyper masculine. I'm going to be the only one that protects, provides, and cares for myself. I'm going to be the one that has got me 24/7. Neither one of these are bad. But what happens is these are the evolutions. We're going to talk a lot about evolution in this program. Evolution is the nervous system of the previous iterations of humans moving forward in the capacity of what we need in order to be safe. It's a beautiful thing that we have brains and systems of education and roofs over our head to keep us safe. We've now surpassed the relational frequency of safety that we have been raised in and for hundreds, if not thousands of years, been indoctrinated in. So when people talk about down with the patriarchy or the challenges of patriarchy or the problems with the patriarchy, that's what they're referring to, is the father lineage that did not understand the feminine intelligence system and did not understand the vibrational frequency of power that a feminine being has. Now, I will teach you in masculine and feminine terms, but this applies to anybody's body. A woman can have, they can work in their agency in their masculine capacity, and they can work in their agency in their feminine capacity, and you will learn how to do both. And men can do the same. But I primarily work with women. And this space of attracting abundance and resources that are in line with your hormone system and your nervous system are different than the external validation sense of it. A woman that is seeking external validation isn't hosting the frequency of her abundance and the magnetism of what she is as an alchemist, what she offers in a co-creative and complementary way in the world. And if you're not, and you were conditioned that that wasn't safe to do, or you were taught by your upbringing how to keep yourself safe, but now you're keeping yourself limited, that's okay. That's what we're here for. We're going to start to understand how to locate our own masculine nervous system and how to work with our own masculine sense of guidance in devotion to our feminine so that we can be claimed in our radical uniqueness and be overflowing as self-love. This is available to all of humanity, but we are in an era right now where the undigested parts of the survival nervous system are surfacing. So there's more and more people coming forward with this feeling of like, I don't know if I trust life, right? This is an inherently feminine thing. Do you trust life? Do you trust that you're essentially worthy and you belong to your body, to nature, to the family of all of consciousness? And if you don't, and in some way you're performing and working hard and doing the dance and hiding parts of yourselves because it wasn't safe to do so, we're going to change that. You're going to change that. And you're going to see how much fun it can be. But first, we need to get out the lay of the land. So I want to talk about transformation and the victim frequency. And I'm going to teach you a little bit about the neurophysiology of your nervous system. You will hear this so many times, and the invitation is for you to communicate with me on it. So don't feel like you need to get it all in one session. You don't need to get everything. You can rewatch this as well as you can ask questions. That's the idea. So every one of us has a mother and father wound. Every one of us has a creation wound. There's nobody that gets into this game of earth unscathed. It's not a bad thing. It's our karmic initiation. It's our karmic awakening. We are here to transform stuck energies. I really resist using the word trauma. I feel like it's just a pitfall for victim frequency. And the frequency of victimization is the thing that keeps us stuck. It's the place where we lose our power. And I'll show you that shortly. But first, let's just introduce this idea that within us, we have either a need for safety and or a need for love. I would say it's both. But the thing is you won't be able to experience your need for love as something that's safe until you understand the need for safety. We actually can't authentically access love without knowing how to access and understand where safety is. That's our job and our responsibility. But in many cases, we've been like a little bit kind of like skewed on how to create that for ourselves. And we've been conditioned to outsource that responsibility to men. And that leads to all kinds of codependent patterns. And that leads to all kinds of ways that a feminine body can start acting like she's a man or acting in the realms of masculinity, seeking to make that safety for herself, seeking to cohere her nervous system with something that she perceives that the outer world is going to give her. I still do it. It's not like we're not absolved from this like instantly. It takes time to turn patterns over, and we will do this. This is why this program happens over a period of time. You can't just consume all this material, like know it mentally, and then have these patterns change. We will work on that together. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using our masculine awareness, our attention, the ability to see for where we recognize safety and where we feel like we don't have safety. The core wound is I am not safe. I do not belong. So when you hear that, or you feel that, or you recognize this theme in your life somewhere, that's awesome. That's step one. Even if you had an imperfect childhood, you will still have a need for safety. And that need for safety is your relationship with your survival nervous system. And that is something that we are going to befriend. And we're going to start to learn how to cohere and to work with it. The integration of a core wound that is a father line core wound is embracing attention. It's embracing presence. It's decisive action. And it's caring for your physical expression. This is something that every woman is responsible for. And then once she knows where it is and how to initiate it, she shifts and she receives at that point. She discerns, she sees, she shifts, she receives. Not prove, perform, go out, do. Don't worry, this takes a little while. It's okay. If you're in the doing, it's not bad. Doing is good. Having the capacity for doing is great. Only doing will exhaust you. Being is what we're learning. So being is most often connected to the mother wound. And the mother wound is a need for love. And it's a place where we experience ourselves as not lovable or not worthy. So if you have a safety or a fear wound, welcome. If you have a loved or worthiness or lovability wound, welcome. If you have both, welcome. Welcome to being a human. Welcome to being an alchemist. This is the stuff we get to work on. We're going to take your shadows and your places where all this stored energy is, and we're going to turn it into life force. We're going to turn it into gold. So this is nurturing your emotional and creative capacities. This is an emphasis on self-love and self-worth. This is receiving unconditional love and care. Everybody is deserving of this. Every being, especially women. So victim consciousness is, I will describe victim consciousness. Oh, there's a couple of things. I want to just put this on the trajectory of awakening humans. So hello, all awakening humans, welcome. Victim consciousness is when you're standing in the waiting room, not really stepping into your sovereignty, because a series of patterns that were adopted patterns from your childhood or patterns that you have that you needed in order to have safety, they're connected to your survival nervous system. We're evolving out of them. They need to be digested. So if you're experiencing victim consciousness, that is a frequency that you're residing at. And it's kind of like being in the mud room of transformation. You've come into the house, but you haven't really gone through the whole change. And so it is a great thing to notice. Oh my gosh, I'm giving other people power. I'm making myself powerless. I like to describe it as victim frequency feels like the world is bigger than you, or the problem is bigger than you, or you're smaller than what you perceive as the thing. So it's often connected to our younger parts, our inner child, where we feel overwhelmed. That's a victim consciousness moment. Where we feel like somebody took something from us. That's a victim consciousness moment. There's always this victim perpetrator savior dynamic that we're going to get into, but when you feel it in your body, it'll feel like the power is outside of you. It's externalized. And when you come into your sovereignty, when you make yourself become empowered, you recognize that you can be bigger than the pattern. It's a victim pattern. It's seeking to go through transformation. And so we're going to transform that pattern of energy that has been moving through your survival nervous system. This is a maturation process. It doesn't happen with like one little like bibbidi bobbidi boo spell, or one little like breath work session, or one little affirmation and dancing it in. It takes a little bit of time. Especially if you're really devoted to the work, especially if you're really devoted to all of the places where the frequencies fall into a victim pattern, because they do for everyone. It's okay. Sometimes you can pick it up. You can be like, bah, 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 singing along, like everything's awesome. You're vibing. And then you can bump into somebody else's victim frequency and like, oh, take some of it on and then have to go clear it off. Like there's all of this energetic hygiene that I'm going to teach you. And you will become a master of your energetic hygiene. You'll become a master of recognizing frequencies. You'll become a master of wielding your energy with containment and your own discernment of how you're using your energetic resource. Because as a woman, that's where all the juiciness is. That is where all of the juice is. So if we didn't get parented and protected, then we actually get to go back and reparent ourselves. If we didn't have an experience of healthy masculine demonstrating the containment that healthy masculine offers, don't worry, we'll get into that in more detail, then we are learning how to do that for ourselves in a transformative and receptive way. Confronting victim consciousness is part of the design. So it can seem like you're a bad person, or it can seem like you're a failure just because the frequency of victim consciousness can feel like that. Like, this is my trauma. You hear this all the time. This is my bad, my addictive parents, or my alcoholic parents, or this is the sexual abuse victimization. Like, these are all valid things. I had all of them also. If you have had experiences like that, it's not my attempt to minimize it. But what I would like to propose to you is this is a field of information that you're interacting with. And at times we can get addicted to it. We can get addicted to our trauma stories. We can get addicted to the bid for victim consciousness that is most familiar to my nervous system. Not that I want it, but it's the devil I know. So we've been programmed as women to believe that being inherently woman is fundamentally inappropriate. So being a transformative being that has many, many, many iterations of expressions of consciousness in my feminine body every month is unpredictable. To the patriarchal mind or the patriarchal society, that is something that needs to be fixed, that needs to be medicalized, that needs to be altered, that needs to be repaired. We can't have you being emotional. We can't have you being angry. We can't have you being powerful and sexual and smart. It wasn't like men were like, oh, we just need to make them less powerful. This has been conditioned into all people. There's more patriarchy in a woman than there is in a man, I would argue. We'll talk about that more. We all have our own inner patriarch. This isn't men that are doing it to us. It's a pattern of consciousness that you will come to know. So think Disney princess. Think this whole kind of like hypnotism into, oh, my life needs to look this way in order for me to experience my essential abundance. If I don't have this and 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 all of these things, then I can't relax into my worthiness. I need to achieve those first. Or I need to attract that prince, or I need to all of these things. And just like looking around, we're getting even more hypnotized into it nowadays. So we don't want to make that go away. We just want to see it where it is. When you get to see it where it is, and you can actually be playful with the aesthetic of it, it's fun. It's really fun to play with these elements of our consciousness. But we need to first recognize where we're giving our power away in our victimization. So this might not be very relevant to you, or it might be super relevant to you, because a lot of my work has been with women with autoimmune disorders. So a lot of the time what's happened is there's been a repressive pattern for so long that their immune system starts to attack itself. A really big part of the gene keys and the way that I teach the gene keys has to do with the frequency of our thoughts and our emotions being the place where we have power. And the medical system, and I was a part of it for 20 years and I left it for this reason, is really, really good at hypnotizing you into believing that the power, the pill, the doctor, the virus detox, the whatever is outside of you. So this is places that we give our power away in relationships. This is a really great place to be learning about where we give our power away is in our relationships. It's not bad that we do that. You will learn that it's a pattern. Feminism does this. The most amount of pain that women struggle with has come from feminism. You know, I want to wear pants. I want to be able to vote. I want to be able to run my own empire and bank account and family and all of these things. I'm not knocking that part of feminism. The part that I'm knocking is the part that led women to believe that they needed to act like men in order to experience abundance in the same way. You will find elements of it in you, you know, to varying degrees. And it's something that you want to root out. It's something that you want to be aware of because it can be the stealer of joy. And there are psyops all around, whether you're a conspiracy theorist or not. There's many, many, many illusions in our modern world that are not true. And I invite you to be a bit of a heretic. I invite you to question what it is that you're giving your power away to. I want you to question your reality yourself. I want you to see where you have exchanged your worthiness for something. There is an incredible amount of power in that ability, in that masculine seeing it for what it is. So in order to stop outsourcing responsibility, this is a really big one if you've got the autoimmune issues or if you're unhappily in some relationship that you want to change. That's your responsibility. Your relationship will change when you change yourself. The pattern of projecting power out into another person is something we're going to talk a lot about. The power of projecting blame onto another person is the place where we have our power with victimization or victim experiences. We can adopt a learned helplessness when it's not true. And what all this is a nervous system that goes into a freeze or a fawn response. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It happens as a result of conditioning. We get manicured into these nervous systems. We get pruned into this way of seeing the world. Apathy is probably, and it gets me, oh my gosh, it gets me. I'm just not that powerful. I guess the patriarchy is just bigger than I am. It's just been around longer and they have more money and it just doesn't matter. And again, these are ways that we give our feminine power away. And there are ways that we need to be opening our channel. And that's a big part of what we're going to be doing. When you start to open your channel, when you start to explore your invigification, your abundance, you will run into the good-bad split. And this is a great thing. I'm inviting the good-bad split to be part of our conversation. This is a trauma-based mind control that starts in our childhood, where we are conditioned from a young age that some feminine attributes get us attention, protection, provision, praise, and they belong. Being sexy, being happy, being sweet, being polite, being demure. You're a good girl. It secures attention. It secures protection. We need that in our younger parts. There's a nobility to that part of you. But it's not the whole story. It's not. Bad behavior, if you're slutty, if you're angry, if you're emotional, if you have needs that another person doesn't see the same way, these can be places where we get attacked in life. And so we can have a tremendous amount of pain and victimization for very good reasons related to this. It can be so helpful to start to notice where you are projecting blame onto others because of an abandonment of a part of yourself. We'll talk more about that as we get more into the erotic experience of being an oracle. But noticing the good-bad split and noticing that good behavior is rewarded, bad behavior is not. This leads to an identity that is fractured. Part of us belongs, part of us doesn't. I need to hide that part of me that doesn't, even from myself. And it takes a crazy amount of energy. It is incredibly exhausting to the feminine nervous system to suppress that part of us. And so it leads to all kinds of physical, emotional, mental health issues. So if you haven't heard of the Karpman triangle, welcome. This is a frequency of consciousness that is connected to transformation. It is connected to every shadow, no matter what shadow you have. A shadow is a place where you believe that something is bigger than you. And there will always be players in this drama. This is a frequency of humanity. This is not reality. This is not truth. This is a mind map that we are a part of. And when we start seeing it and we start recognizing where we're participating in it and we start recognizing where we're giving our power away, we can stop. We can stop and we can become empowered. And that is a really beautiful space. Survival nervous system is responsible for initiating appropriate response to threats and dangers, and it might even be experienced as a place where we will stay in a stress physiology that's causing us bodily harm because we've been in it for so long. So I am going to propose to you that your stress physiology in learning this material and starting to see your shadows might be an experience of you attacking yourself, or it might be an experience of like, oh, I don't trust this material. I don't trust this way of the world. I want you to reach out if that shows up. Stressors are not sustainable for the body. We are meant to engage our survival nervous system, fight, run away, play dead, or create a connection that gets us out of the unsafe situation. And then we're meant to restore our connection to ourself and to other people in a healthy way. And that feeds and fills our batteries up. So one depletes, the other one feeds. I was a massage therapist and osteopath for 20 plus years. I spent a lot of time teaching people about stress physiology. And in particular, when we take stress physiology and we overlay it with this victim perpetrator savior triangle, the place where we're giving our energy away, you will see that there are certain attributes that cohere and align with certain parts of the stress physiology. So in the Karpman triangle, we have the villain, the rescuer, and the victim, or the villain, the hero, and the victim is the other one. And whenever we're participating in this frequency of shadow behavior, this unconscious survival nervous system behavior that we needed to have in order to have safety, and now are participating in at times unconsciously, there are themes that go with this that create a nervous system that's addicted to the climate of this. This is the perpetrator who might always feel like the savior. Like if you feel like you always have to save people, that is a place where your nervous system is running energy constantly. It's not restoring itself. You're always like, oh, I need to save people, my kids, or my husband, or my coworkers. They need me. They can't see. That's a pattern. Some people have it more than other people, and that's it shows up in your gene keys. The one that the bad guy pointing the finger is actually the villain. That expression of like, one finger points out and three point back at you. This is a place where projection occurs, and this is a part where the illusion is. And so if something hits your survival nervous system bandwidth as like that person's a bad person, just notice. That's all. You don't need to change it. You don't need to understand what it is. Just be like, whoa, I just did a little square off. That's okay. My mind is doing that. Interesting. My survival nervous system might be calling for something. We're going to be working with that. This is an external source of power that is responsible for your suffering. So the power is outside of you and it's responsible for your suffering. In the case of the rescuer, again, just notice, I do this. I know all this stuff and I do this all the time. Oh, I feel like I need to save that person because they're having a tough time emotionally and I can see what's going on because I'm a little bit more objective about it because I'm not so close to the pattern. But they haven't invited my support or guidance. So that's the hero savior complex, which is like, I need to be needed in order to experience love. There's nothing wrong with it. You need to be thanked for saving a person. You need to be the person that saves the day. You need to be the person that's the practical fixer. You need to be the person that is like always got it before it's needed. This is really, really common in narcissistic and codependent relationships where the codependent is the rescuer. This is really, really common in alcoholic and alcoholic children. The child believes that they need to save the world because they're trying to save their inner child. It's like all about sweetness in this journey. It's all about recognizing that at some point in the chapters of our life, we got various iterations of this from everyone. So it's like, you know, it's really human. It's really, really human to have all of these. The victim is so the ones to the left, the villain and the rescuer are part of the more yang side of our nervous system. It's about flight and fight. So energy moves really quickly in the yang side of our nervous system, and energy goes into freeze or collapse in the yin side of our nervous system. So victim frequency is more going inward. The pattern goes inward. Outward seems like it's got the power. You feel yourself go inward, and it is a freeze or a fawn response. So women might do this to other women because they're like fawning other women because they're afraid of them and they want to be friends with them. And so another way of describing fawning is lying for attachment. It's like manipulating and contouring your nervous system to make it fit with the other person so that you feel safe because you needed to do that in your life, not because you're a bad person or because you're like over traumatized in some way. You picked up a pattern and you've used that tool, and that tool is maybe no longer serving you. And maybe you want to build a new pattern. That's what we'll learn how to do. The freeze response in our nervous system is related to the initiatory arc. So, we have spiritual initiations all the time. Spirit is always trying to come more down into form. The more spirit tries to come down into form, the more you experience an initiation where you actually have to expand your capacity for love and openness and widening. It's called Tantra, widening to life. And if it strikes, that big experience of something happening in a relationship, in a journey of life that's like a bigger pattern than you, if something hits your system, but you're not capable of moving all the way through the initiatory arc because it wasn't safe to do so, then that will get frozen into your nervous system. And we all have these. Every single human being has these frozen parts of ourself that are not completely initiated arcs. Don't worry, we'll go into it in detail in this program. So here's some practical tools that you can start with right away. There is always choice in this victim, perpetrator, savior triangle, okay? So in this triangle, we break out through choice and embodiment. Choice is the masculine capacity to see. Embodiment is the feminine capacity to feel. We transform the masculine wound and the feminine wound because we use our decisiveness, our discipline, and our masculine agency to see what is happening and to feel what is there. We finish the arcs. So I am radically responsible for my own body and experience. That is the way we re-imprint the stuck energy of the fawn response, and you choose to develop agency and the ability to listen out with curiosity. You start to get better and not getting so triggered by the outer world. The embodiment is to feel your own feelings, not the conditioning. To befriend and to learn to play with your true desires. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about desires because feminine desires are places where stuck energy is trying to come out and move into the world. That's what we are here to birth. That is what is the power of a woman. The villain and the fight mantra, what I want you to say when you experience yourself in the villain or the fight, just that channel of the nervous system. It's just a channel, just there. And it happened, and I was like, oh, I want to fight with this person, or I want to run away in this moment. Your choice is to build containment. I will help you with this. You're going to evolve your masculine container to hold more energy, to discern and know when is the time to move forward and the time to rest. I don't need anyone to be bad or wrong for me to choose what's right for me. Is your mantra. You don't need to give the energy away to a villain. You don't need to run away from a villain. It's a perceptual state. I don't need anyone to be bad or wrong to choose what's right for me. The embodiment, the feminine flow of energy that matches this is when I have a stable container, desires and fears can be integrated and they can become my intelligence system. They can become this expansion of my feminine journey of being an oracle who's attuned to, connected, and integrated into the universe. The rescuer and the flight elements of exhaustion that show up or of patterning that show up. This is a choice out of the victim perpetrator savior triangle to expand your ability to witness discomfort in another person. This is the masculine, like, okay, somebody else is struggling and they need to grow up themselves into asking for help or integrating with the world and help. I am not there to save them. That can be so uncomfortable for women initially. And as a mother of an autistic son, I can talk for ages about this. But I know you can never know what's best for someone else. You cannot know. I know you think you can. I know it feels so tempting. We'll work on that. Embodiment is to deepen your capacity to feel your own emotions and remain empathic to another person's struggle. We don't need to repress the grieving that comes with watching our children grow up. We don't need to repress the fear that shows up when our partners feel disconnected from us. We don't need to suppress and avoid these elements of anger that arise. When energies arise, we want to direct them appropriately within the nervous system. And when we do, we hum with existence. It's an amazing, amazing thing. So we break these patterns, working with our gene keys, working with your specific patterns of avoidance or blame, this pattern of over yin or over yang that is conditioned into everyone's survival nervous system that is unconsciously going through it. And all of us at some point have moments where we're unconsciously hijacked by our survival nervous system. We build a life where we're slowing down into awareness. This is the place where the evolution happens, is our awareness starts to see the pattern. We have a choice to get out of this pattern. We have a choice to flow with our embodiment. When we do this, we transform our frequency so that we're no longer attracting towards us the same people, situations, patterns that create suffering for us. We become magnetically aligned with the truth of our radical uniqueness, the space that is only you. Nobody else can be this. So any attachment patterns that are not radically you will not fit. They won't feel good. This radical responsibility is a necessary part of transformation. I am here for me. I want you to put your hand on your heart right now and declare your personal responsibility for this heart field of knowing that you have as a woman. We know what's right for us. We know what's right for the world. When we're able to seal up the places where we're losing our intelligence to the patriarchal ideas of the past and really emerge in this body is mine, these feelings and sensations are mine, nothing is happening to me. I am aware of what's here. That's called interoception. We reclaim our neuroception. We become our self-sourced safety. We become the agents of our selfhood. You start to become the author of your story. That's what sovereignty is probably most easily described as. You get to write your own journey. And you transform your vibration and the patterns of energetic loss that are showing up, that are hitting your bandwidth of awareness in one way or another that you know you want to do something about. You know you want to shift. So in this program, I have everyone start by pausing every 3 hours for 3 minutes. The Triple Flame app is a free app. You would have gotten it in your onboard for Oracle Body. If you're finding this anywhere else, I recommend the Triple Flame app. This isn't because you need to meditate every 3 hours. This isn't because you need to, sit down. There's beautiful guided meditations in here. There is really incredible opportunities for going on like longer journeys. But realistically, all I want you to do in the beginning, all I want you to do is consider every 3 hours, scan your body. What's here? What is here that is asking me to listen? When you start to do that, the backlog of the not listening, the backlog of the agitation, the fact that you might need to pee or that you might have like a heartbreak happening from a sentence that was said to you 2 days ago. You might have had a shift in your hormones in some way, and you feel like your list of to do things needs to be done that you made last week, and now you're shaming yourself because you haven't had the energy and the focus to do it this week because your hormones have shifted. As feminine beings, we need to consistently be dropping in because as feminine beings, our intelligence is in our heart and in our heart womb. It is not in the mind all the time. I'm not saying don't go into your mind. I'm simply saying don't live only in your mind. This is so that you start to learn that there's a staircase down into the heart, down into the heart womb, and it's a cathedral of beauty. In the patriarchal way, we've been conditioned to pop up into our head. In feminism, we're popping up into our head. We're living in this lateral way of, sorry, not lateral, linear way of masculine living. And if that's exhausting you, if that's agitating you, if that's making you feel like you don't have a juiciness in life, then that's why. Because it's not up here. There's so much better down south. And we're going to spend some time going into that. So we each have the power to render the impossible possible, and it's time to learn how to unlock your gifts. That's why I'm using your specific curated gene keys in order to move through this process. This is not some kind of like throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. It's a precise science that will show how your nervous system is, reacts, lives, thrives, sees things. It's all beautiful. So phase 1, week 1, this is daily self-husbandry. So using the Triple Flame app, what I want you to do is I want you to every 3 hours be checking into your system. Do I need to go pee? Do I need a snack? Do I need water? Treat yourself as if you were an animal that you were responsible for, and you are so kind, like the sweetest boyfriend you ever had, the sweetest friend you've ever had. That's what I want you to be for yourself. That's what I want you to participate in. Every 3 hours, babe, how you doing? Do you need something? That's the space of self-husbandry. The Handless Maiden is a sleep story that's available if you are wanting to do the mythical element of some of Clarissa Pincola's work. I love studying women's mythology. This is a part of this chapter that's available if you want to. It's not necessary. Let me know. Just put that in the thread and I will set you up with it. The Victim and the Anthropologist, same thing. I need you to cue me that you're ready. I'm going to take you on a journey. And in that journey, we're going to go through a pain point or a pattern that you know in your life where you still have victim consciousness. Everybody has them. I have several still that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm still doing that old story. Okay. So we're going to play with that from 2 perspectives, the victim and the anthropologist perspective. The victim triangle exercises are simply noticing when your pattern feels like you're smaller than life and life is bigger than you and you're just not that powerful and you don't get what you want and everybody else is outside of me is, wow, just notice. That's all. That's all we're doing for now is we're making a point of using our masculine, using our ability to see, to recognize that we've got ourselves, that we're the ones that are responsible for our physical feminine expression. The more you do that, the more you'll be able to see it when it happens. So using the Triple Flame, body scans, noticing victim, perpetrator, savior, patterning. That's it. More to come. Thanks so much. I'm so happy to have you here on the journey. I'm so excited to see you blossoming into your empowerment. I couldn't be more thrilled. There's nothing that brings me more joy in this life than watching women come alive with their oracle, connected, magnetic, beautiful expression of health and beauty in this world. Happy you're here, gorgeous.